Welcome to the Lucidez podcast, where I explore everything, because I believe in the infinite, unbounded potential within each of us. This is Shelley, a fellow seeker and a lover of life's mysteries. I invite you to join me and explore your uncharted depths. There are many people in my life who I adore and care deeply about and enjoy and appreciate. And the one I'm going to share today is one I'm going to leave anonymous. And I'm just going to mention it's a he. And this person I have so much respect for, I admire, I enjoy, I just truly can't say enough about them. And one of the things that they're very good at is growing and learning and changing. So recently he took a break from something that was troublesome for him, and it was time for him. He chose it was time for him to step back to this thing that had been very troublesome for him in his life. And when he returned, he was a bit frustrated because it was exactly the same. And he called and said, hey, what about this? This is like, what about all this work I've done and all the growth I've done? And I how can I be in the same place? And so as I was listening to him, this interesting analogy came. And so I shared it. And I said, imagine that you've been knitting and you're knitting away and you stop knitting. You set it down, you walk off. And while you're gone, you learn to do all these other cool things. You've learned to do new cables and new stitches and different way of casting on and casting off and all these fabulous knitting things. And you come back and you pick up the piece that you set down and you look at it and it has none of the cool cables and no great stitches and none of the new patterns and casts that you've learned. It's exactly where you left it. That's how I have found things to be in my life, that when I set something down, and there are times to set things down and walk away, and sometimes we never walk back. I'm not going to tell you when those times are. You'll choose that for your own life. But there are times when we go back and we pick it up because we're called to do so, or because it's just mandated in the flow of our life. And so we pick it back up. And it can be frustrating because it is exactly where we left it. Energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, just all the lees. It's exactly where we left it. But when we pick it up and see that it's where we left it, we need to remember that we are not where we left it. And so we pick it up and we're going to have the same me. I'll talk for myself. I have the same visceral reactions to wherever I left something. I have the same emotional reactions, the same mental reactions, but those are generally very short-lived, meaning if I just take sometimes minutes, maybe a few hours, maybe a few days, maybe it takes a few weeks before I realize, oh, okay, I'm experiencing, my nervous system is still wired for the old experience, for the old Shelley. And so I just need to sort of let those old things flow through, let the sensations, the thoughts, the emotions, all of that old to flow through. And as it does, I begin to realize, oh, wow, look, my old stitches don't look like my new stitches. My new stitches have this newness to them. They have all the work I've done put into them. And look, I'm adding cables where I didn't used to have cables, and I'm dropping and adding stitches in the ways that do incredible things. And I'm not who I was, even though I'm starting where I left off. And that is something I just quickly want to share with you in case you happen to be in a place where you're considering going back and picking something up that you set down, something you may care about, something that you know is important on your journey, or maybe something that you have to face. So when you go back and pick it up, it may be where you left it, just like things are the same when I go back. But I'm not the same, and you're not the same. And you'll slowly learn that you can respond in different ways, that you can create in different ways, that it doesn't actually look the same. You can see where you left off on the old stitches, and the new stitches have a totally different feel and look to them than the old ones did. And this is how we grow. I think sometimes I forget, that there's a pause in every growth cycle. There's a pause in every growth cycle. And that's where we're doing work that exists in realms other than physical. And there are so many realms, but in realms other than physical. So when we take all the learning we've done in all the non-physical realms and then we bring it back into the physical, we have to sort of adapt and match all of our new learnings to the old physical plane where we left our stitches. And all I think it takes is patience and faith and love and compassion and goodwill for ourselves, for others, as we begin to change the physical plane so it matches all the work we've done in the other realms. So I hope this little tiny ditty is of service for you as you move forward, because as we move forward, we often go back and pick up the things that need to be picked up, and know that we can do it differently. We can do that relationship differently. We can do that job differently. We can do that soul contract differently, because we are different, even if it looks the same when we pick it back up. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for exploring with me on the Lucidess podcast. It is my hope that you discovered new wisdom within yourself and are inspired to live your unique strokes of genius.